March 29th. I'm Scott.
I'm Rim.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight we discuss all kinds of weapons and other various armaments. Let's do this.
You might all recall that yesterday I brought up the Visigoths, aka our friends, and the holy terror that they unleashed upon our house over the D&D weekend, as they are wont to do. Well, today, I discovered one final insult, one last injustice that I did not know about until I reached for the Thin Mints. And I discovered that someone had eaten all of the Thin Mints, yet carefully replaced the Thin Mint box into its original location, thereby deceiving all.
What? You couldn't just throw out the Thin Mint box? What? I mean, there's so much crap that they take out and just leave lying around the living room, or fill up the trash can and don't empty it. But that, they take trash and they put it back?
Well, I guess luckily, I'm too clever for them. You see, before they all came over, I was up there looking for some peanuts, and I realized that were I to leave the Thin Mints within easy reach of anyone, they would all be eaten. So I took one of the whole tubes of Thin Mints that are in there, because you know there's 2 tubes of Thin Mints in any box of Thin Mints.
Yep.
And I hid it in the back behind a bunch of snacks that they wouldn't eat, because I know they don't eat that stuff. And sure enough, I threw away the empty Thin Mints box, which was now, I guess, serving as a decoy, retrieved the untouched Thin Mints, and proceeded to eat half of them.
Aha! Hidden Thin Mint for the win.
So to whichever of you Visigoths stole all of our Thin Mints, owned. Yeah, that's right.
I think from now on, we're just going to have to hide all the good food somewhere secretly.
Well, I remember the one time when we just duct taped shut all the cabinets, and all we provided was the fridge, the red Solo cups, and the plastic plates.
We should duct tape the fridge next time.
Nah, because luckily, now that I stopped stocking soda and all we had was a bunch of juice and seltzer water and tonic water, the drinking of our goods went down precipitously.
I think that had a lot to do with the big crate of Yoo-Hoo that was brought.
I can't drink that stuff.
I can't drink it either. But if we duct tape the fridge, they'll be forced to bring their own beverages and cups.
Well, you see, they'd come in and they wouldn't go for the Yoo-Hoo. They'd always go for the fridge. And they'd open it and I'd watch them because I'd always be in there doing stuff. And they'd look and they'd see Tom Collins and tonic water and seltzer water and club
water.
soda and all these different carbonated waters and pomegranate juices. And they didn't
Pretty
find...
much juices and waters.
Yeah, and they didn't find their Coca-Cola, and eventually they gave up. A few people poured various amounts of seltzer, decided they didn't like it, and left it sitting out. That's fine. Seltzer's almost free. I put it in there mostly as a decoy.
Yeah, but it's like, how could you go get food and then not eat it?
What if you don't like it? What if you think... I mean, at one point, someone, and this is a legitimate mistake, thought they had... one kind of soda water, and I actually had a different kind of soda, tonic water. And
do you not know how to read the label?
Hey, if you're in a hurry and you grab something quickly, plus they look the same when you pour them out. They pretty much smell the same. It's not until you drink it and you realize, wait a minute, this tastes like water plus quinine.
I don't know. I don't have a problem pouring incorrect beverages.
We'll see.
I mean, do you
Rabbit.
go and go to the store and buy some beef, but it was you thought it was chicken because you didn't read? I don't know.
I have occasionally bought the wrong kind of sausage.
Okay, that's all you.
Well, the thing is, all sausages look the same. Especially when you're buying just from some butcher where you just got a bunch of meat in tubes hanging from things.
Well, see, that's the one time I will mess up. Is sometimes I'll go to the butcher and I'll be like, half a pound of Hebrew National salami, and they'll give me half a pound of Hebrew National bologna because they messed up, not me. I asked for the right thing. They gave me what I didn't ask for.
Yeah, but if you go to a butcher and you don't know much about the kind of meat they've got, they've got 10 different weird German sausages, and you point at one, and it might not be the kind of sausage you expect to come out of there.
I don't expect any sausages to come out of there.
Well, because you deny one of the greatest kinds of meat in the world.
Anyway,
what? What do you got in the news? Nothing. I know you got nothing because you were sitting here just now trying to find some news.
Yeah, I had a hard time finding news today because I was spending most of my time doing something else, but iTunes, the provider of digital music that we do not enjoy, has done something that didn't even occur to me ever before. Apparently on iTunes, you want to buy a song, it's $1, right? If you want to buy an album on iTunes, it's a lot less than $1 per song. I mean, it's not a lot less, but it is less. So maybe a 12-song album would be $10.
Well, it'd have to be less. Otherwise, I wouldn't even give the option other than maybe having a tag that links all of them together in case someone cares what quote-unquote album they came from.
Yes. So not buying things on iTunes, this did not occur to me that there might be a problem where you would buy one song from an album and later decide you want the whole album. And you don't want to pay, for the whole price again, for the cheap price for the album, because then you lose $1.
You know how often that happened to anime fans in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s? Where
you'd buy one DVD and then you'd get the box set. You'd have this DVD lying there.
Or I remember at one point, someone bought like 3 DVDs of a series. And then the box set came out, and the box set was about the same price as buying all... Like, it was a little bit more than buying the rest of the DVDs normally. Yet at the same time, it was more to buy all the DVDs.
Or sometimes you buy issue 1 of a comic book miniseries, and then you won't buy the rest, but then the trade paperback will come out, and you buy that, and then you've got this issue 1 sitting there.
Granted, I solved that very easily by only ever buying either box sets or individual DVDs when I know I'll never buy the box set.
Yep. Well, anyway, iTunes has added a feature where if you have some songs on an album, you can pay to get the whole album at the discounted album price, and they'll give you all your dollars back for all the songs that you bought before.
See, a lot of artists seem to talk about how the integrity of the album has been destroyed by the fact that you can buy tracks piecemeal. And while that might normally be true in some ways, I do point out that the way music distribution is morphed over the years, I would contend that the vast majority of albums released in the United States were not artistic works created by the people who were in the band in order to convey something, or not some sort of unified work. They were, in fact, the chaff around the 2 tracks you actually wanted, thus forcing you to buy the much more expensive album CD.
Yes, I mean, if someone actually is a quote, real musician and makes an album full of awesome songs, perhaps even an A-side and a B-side, which don't mean anything without vinyl anymore, but, and it's a bunch of songs that go together and to form a larger musical whole, people are probably going to buy the whole album. The reason people aren't buying whole albums isn't because they don't have to. It's because you make one-hit song and a bunch of crap, and you just put it all on the same disc, and people only care about your hit song, and the rest of your music is crap.
Yeah, it's the last CD I got, and I technically bought it, but I bought it with a gift certificate that I couldn't spend anywhere else, so it's not like I wanted to buy it, but I figured, what the hell? Mm-hmm. When Fastball, they had this song, like, Where Were They Going Without Ever Knowing, I don't even remember what it was called, but I liked the song a lot.
I don't even know what song you're talking about or who Fastball is.
And when the car broke down, they started walking. Where were they going without ever knowing the way? Anyone could see the road if they walked on its way.
Well, I really liked that song. For whatever reason, I thought, all right, I'm going to use this gift certificate, and I'm going to buy the CD. And I bought the CD. And the CD did indeed contain that song. And every other song on the CD was unmitigated garbage that wasn't anything like that song.
Yeah, go back and get yourself like a Rolling Stones album or a U2 album or a Beatles album.
Queensryche.
Or an Elvis album.
God, anything by Queensryche. The
Queen
songs,
album.
The songs aren't even just all part of one work.
Did I say Led Zeppelin album? It needs to be said 3 times.
They all actually flow into each other, where you have to listen to the whole CD at once or you lose it.
Yep. Get any album by a real band and put it in your CD player and turn it on, or just get all the MP3s from wherever.
The hell's a CD player?
Yeah, and play all the MP3s on the album in a row. You're not going to find sucky songs. I mean, you get a Beatles album, every song is a hit. Every single one. There isn't like, you don't pick up like, the White Album just for one song, man. It doesn't like that. Today, it has nothing to do with distribution. It has to do with songs. And I guess it's good that Apple is doing something to change the crappy iTunes, but this is not enough. They need to do a lot more before they're getting $1 from me.
All they need to do is remove the DRM. I know that's not going to happen. I'm not even going to pretend that that's an option. But that is really, there are a couple songs I would probably pay a little bit of money for. But the fact that I can't just get an MP3 or a FLAC or something that I can use, I don't know, on my Linux box or on a non-iPod in case I decide to buy a non-iPod someday.
Yep. Oh, well. We'll see what happens. I give it a year. I mean, there are places we could go to buy music with that are just MP3s, like emusic.com or that other place.
Or that Russian site.
No, that one's not totally legit. Super legit ones that are definitely legit.
It's kind of legitimate.
Yeah, there are ones that we can go to that are 100% legitimate, and we just don't. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, it doesn't help that I really don't like the vast majority of music that comes out anymore.
Well, that's the other thing is places like emusic.com that do the MP3s are mostly the indie musics and not the real music only comes out. I mean, the record company music only comes out on iTunes and Yahoo and Napster.
Yeah, but a lot of the indie music now, I see their websites and they just give enough of it away for free to sate me.
Yep.
So anyway, in China, a bunch of people have gotten together with some $300 million to build a 13-mile-long dragon statue.
All right, 13-mile long.
It's 13 miles long. It's a Chinese-style dragon, so it's basically a long, long snake that, from the picture so far, is pretty shoddy looking.
Yeah, how big are they making it? Are they making like a little tiny thing that's like, as far around as my thumb, or are they making it big?
Now, that would just be silly.
You can make a really long, thin dragon. I think that'd be much cooler.
It is pretty long and thin because the head is only 30 feet high. And I thought this was really cool when I saw the headline, oh, giant dragon statue in China, OMG, I love that stuff. But upon reading the article, it looks as though this is a gigantic scam.
A scam, you say?
The investor group is trying to build this 13-mile-long structure as a tourist destination. Inside of the dragon, they plan to house galleries where visitors can, quote, for a fee, have their names or other messages inscribed. Advertising space on the giant serpent will also be sold.
Ah, it is a scam. China already has this other really long thing. It's pretty great. It sort of looks like a wall. It keeps out Mongolians.
It's also, contrary to popular belief, not visible from space. God damn it.
No, it is not. However, it is a pretty awesome tourist destination. It is not sold out with advertisements. There are no galleries on the inside.
How do you know? For all you know, there's just giant Starbucks all along the Great Wall of China.
Maybe there is, but I'm pretty sure communists don't like Starbucks. But
yeah, I think the joke there was calling China communist.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the really funny part here is that an investor group began the project in 2002 and abandoned it due to financial difficulties. And now they're out of money and they're having trouble. Now they're trying to sell this to local people on the idea that it could block sandstorms from hitting their town.
I'll buy it for $1.
I'll give them $1.45.
Ooh, you win. It's not worth it.
Nah. So I'm disappointed. This could have been some sort of awesome news about a 13-mile-long dragon, but it's actually some really lame news about a 13-mile-long corrugated steel tube filled with ads.
So now that you own this dragon for $1.45, how many power cards are you going to buy? How many farmers are you going to put in there?
Things of the day, which we should probably get to before we say something that they don't like and Anime World Order loses its shit again.
Okay, well, I don't think it's anime. Well, I don't know. More of Anime World Order might be losing their shit now that I've also insulted their video games.
Well, you insult pretty much everyone's video games. But anyway, my thing of the day.
Up in your crib, insulting your video games. What now?
So some of my favorite cartoons ever are the Chip and Dale versus Donald Ducks from Disney back in the day, and the Goofy learning how to do something or Goofy explaining how to do something things, also from back in the day in Disney. Like, Goofy teaches you how to ski, or Goofy tries to quit smoking.
Goofy Golf, I think, was the best Goofy sport.
I don't know, I like the ski one a lot.
It's all right.
Thing is, one of these is surprisingly relevant to modern times. In fact, while almost all of the other Goofies, especially the skiing one,
well, they're kind of goofy,
are really kind of outdated. Like, the jokes they make are not particularly, I don't know, relevant today. I mean, when Goofy gets out of his bed in the skiing one and he's got a bunch of hot water bottles, I don't think anyone listening to this podcast has ever used a hot water bottle, knows what it is, knows what it would be used for.
Keeping hot water around.
No. Hot water bottle, hot water bag, I guess, or a bed warmer.
Oh, those? Well, if you've ever watched Looney Tunes, you know that when you're sick in bed, you put one on your head.
Yeah, well, Goofy has a bed full of them.
Must have been cold.
However, this one in particular, Goofy and Motor Mania, pretty much describes everything about me driving around the Bronx every day.
I'd say it's pretty accurate, except for the old style of car.
I don't know how particularly relevant that is to the relevance of Goofy.
I'm just talking about it.
I mean, it's not like a kid's gonna see that and go, what the fuck is that? It's obviously a car, but I know a lot of kids will look at other Goofy stuff and, what's that bag Goofy was sleeping with? Or what kind of shoes are those? What?
I don't know, man. I could see, like, a few years from now, a kid will look at that and be like, what the hell kind of thing is that? Cars used to look like that? What the fuck?
It's just like in Back to the Future where he plays with that our old arcade game in the second one, and those kids are like, you have to touch it. It's a baby game.
God, I didn't remember that till just now.
Anyway, what do you got for me?
So, this is a puzzling thing of the day in that I'm not sure how true it is, even though it's a video.
Uh-huh.
Basically, in Japan, where everything crazy and entertaining comes from, some guy has a deep fryer. Oh, that's not the whole news. Some guy has a deep fryer with a goldfish tank under it. And, oil doesn't mix with water, so you've got this aquarium, and directly on top of the water of the aquarium is the oil. And then the oil goes all the way up to the top, and you fry things in the oil.
It looks like it's water and goldfishes, heating element in the oil, and oil on top of that.
Yeah, so the oil is really hot. I mean, like, it's 100 and something degrees Celsius. So if the fish touch the oil, they die. But wouldn't that heat be transferred to the water? Can someone explain to me how you can put oil on top of water, heat the oil, and then the water remains cool? I don't get it. Unless you have some sort of cooling mechanism.
Well, one, heat does rise.
It does. That is true. But, seriously.
Two, there was someone who did in fact explain it to you in detail. The problem is he seemed to be explaining it in a crazy moon language, otherwise known as Japanese. That's two things of the day in a row, where if we knew Japanese, we would be more fulfilled by them.
I just went to the Japanese bookstores today. Don't talk to me about that. So
Japanese bookstores, especially when they have manga, are incredibly depressing to me. Because I have Sanctuary, and I have Eagle, and I have First President of Japan.
You think that's depressing? Today, I was looking for a Japanese novel. You find a Japanese novel, you look at the cover, because the covers are all cool. And you see this little tiny book for like $4. And the cover, you look at that cover, and you know there's something awesome inside, and you open it, and it's basically a book of scribbles. And you're like, fuck, it's a book of scribbles. This does me no good.
Well, it's when you look in the manga section and you think, all right, there's only like 4 or 5 Yakuza action, political, yelling at each other, awesome men standing at the front of tank columns while the nukes fall around the manga. No, there's like 1 million of them, and they're all $1.
I took a picture of the golf manga today.
There's a golf manga? Well, of course.
I took a picture of it just to prove it.
Of course there's a golf manga.
Yes, it was everything that is published. I figured it out by it's like Weekly Comic Big Spirits or something like that. That's the one that has the good stuff. That's the one that Naoki Urasawa's manga gets put in. The Master Keatons and the Monsters and the 20th Century Boys.
What about Gona Guy?
Yeah, Gona Guy's cool and all. If you haven't had any of...
Actually, I'll put forth a controversial opinion. I think that Gona Guy is only cool in an ironic and retroactive sense in most cases.
I agree. Anyway, the aquarium with the oil on top of it. Yes. Well, that was the first question is obviously, how does the oil not heat up the water? Number 2, the goldfish are fed because the bits from the fried food fall down into the water and the fish eat it. That's cool. But how did the fish not get obese from eating what is essentially fried?
I think the answer is pretty obvious. Obviously, they've made this contraption, put water, goldfish, oil in it, set it up, filmed a bunch of stuff, taken the oil out, taken the goldfish out, and been done with it.
That could be true.
This is obviously not some guy's modern...
I think someone's selling it, though.
I don't think it's the modern Japanese equivalent of the platform shoes with the goldfish in them.
No. Also, apparently, how did the goldfish get oxygen? I mean...
They probably don't keep them in there that long. Either that or they die.
It says, at least from what I read, that the goldfish stay in there for like a few years, and then they switch them out. And the only time the goldfish die prematurely is if they're stupid enough to swim up and touch the oil, in which case they go, oh God, oh God.
I don't know. I guess...
Well, they probably only say, oh God, once, because goldfish can't remember anything that happened too long ago.
I'm going to call you on an assertion you've made during the course of your thing of the day.
Yeah?
You've assumed that goldfish are theists.
Maybe.
Anyway, more important than Goldfish, more important than Goofy, more important than Anime World Order are zombies.
Are we really going to do it? I think we should back out.
I don't know. I'm feeling whether maybe we should ask the audience. Audience, should we back out?
Yes.
Yes.
Boo.
Zombies.
Zombies suck. Boo.
I guess we're not doing zombies.
Oh, well, what are we going to do then?
Zombies.
Oh, okay.
So last
Sounds
time
good. Let's do it.
on what to do in the event of the horrible zombie apocalypse, we talked about probably the most important thing of gathering intelligence, because zombie outbreaks can range from the worldwide hell is rising up, there is no escape, you're going to die no matter what.
Down to your roommate is walking around groaning, talking about cerebral matter.
And in that case, he might be a zombie or he might just be high.
It's tough to tell.
Yes.
Is there really a difference when you think about it?
So again, when you're listening to this show, which is going to be on weapons to use fighting zombies, always bear in mind that pretty much every episode we do after this and everything we could possibly say, all of our expert opinions, all rely on you knowing what kinds of zombies you're up against. So make sure you have done your homework and your reconnaissance before you even attempt to chainsaw a zombie.
Yes, and you might just end up having to be unlucky. I mean, in any zombie apocalypse, you might just be one of those first zombies who doesn't get a chance to figure anything out and you're just walking down the hall at work. You don't know this is a zombie apocalypse. You weren't expecting it. And then a zombie jumps out of the closet and it's game over for you. Well, sorry. It's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, who wants to be that guy, that asshole, that first zombie? Granted, what if?
It's usually the fault of some, voodoo shaman or something.
It is possible that being one of the early zombies will entitle you to having powers later on. Maybe you become one of those zombie lords from the back of the second ed D&D handbook. Well, the monster book, at least.
I don't know. Usually the zombie lord is usually a necromancer, not one of the zombies themselves. Being one of the early zombies is not always a great idea, because then, it's your job to spread the zombieism, which kind of sucks. You don't want to be a spreading zombie. You want to be one of the distant off, on your own zombies. You get a lot more people to eat.
If I'm going to have to be undead, I'd rather be either some form of lich. Possibly a demi-lich.
Death Knight for me, skeleton, thank you.
Granted, though, a ghost, as I learned from the game we played way back with Alex, is very nice because you can possess living bodies and claw at some semblance of a normal life for short periods of time before your hosts go insane.
Skeleton is definitely the way to go. I can't stress that enough.
I don't really like the skeleton. Taken out by a claw hammer, readily.
Hence you don't go near people with claw hammers. Plus, you ride down the street on motorcycles yelling in Spanish.
Vaya con Dios y Anyway, we're talking about weapons here, and we have to narrow it down a bit, because weapons could range from full-blown siege engines designed to prevent zombies from overrunning the last stronghold of humanity,
to nukes, to the kitchen knife.
So I think we're going to limit it to personal weapons. Things that one individual, or possibly two people at most, would use in close to close, hand-to-hand to short, maybe medium-range combat. The thing you would carry during the zombie apocalypse.
Well, I think we got to start, if we're going to start it off right, we got to start with the obvious choice.
Chainsaw?
No. The number one zombie weapon that is generally useful no matter your zombie apocalypse, the shotgun.
You see, the shotgun, especially if it's loaded with slugs, unlike any other kind of gun you're probably going to have, has readily available ammunition. It's so easy to use, I defy anyone who has at least one arm to fire a shotgun a few times.
Yeah, it could be a super powerful shotgun, in which case you might not be able to hold it straight, but that doesn't matter, because unlike a gun that shoots bullets, the shotgun shoots shot, which is not just one piece of metal going very quickly. It is a lot of small bits of metal that spread out and cover an area, but all those bits of metal still go really fast. The reason this is essential against zombies, because you have a zombie, it's essentially a bag of flesh walking around. If you poke a hole in it, really, it doesn't matter how fast you poke that hole, it's not going to make a difference. You've got to knock the zombie down. You've got to break a piece off of it. And to do that, you need to spread force over a wide area. And the shotgun is the only weapon that uses a gun-type mechanism that will do such a thing.
Now, the shotgun has a number of advantages. I mean, it's very easy to use. They're readily available. Anyone can use them.
You can get them at Walmart by like the bag full.
The problem is there's already zombies at Walmart. You're
That's-
pretty much already fucked at that point.
But if you're in Walmart when the zombies come, you know where to go.
But there's already zombies there. There's always zombies there.
You get my point.
I do.
That's why Walmart has shotguns.
But shotguns are very easy to aim. If you miss a target,
It's really hard to miss. It's like a shotgun, depending on your range, it's sort of like hitting a beach ball with a tennis
if you're in the
racket.
same room as anything and you have a shotgun and that thing is not destroyed in one shot, you fail as a human being.
I mean, at least get the arm. You're going to at least hit the arm and blow it off, maybe.
Now, in terms of firing, shotguns, even without slugs, even with just their shot, have incredible stopping power. If you hit a zombie in the head, which isn't that hard to do, you're probably going to take the head out, and that's the end of that zombie, most likely. You're hoping here that they're the zombies that go out when the brain is destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, considering anything is possible, it could be some sort of zombie where the head falls off and immediately grows a new body, and the body grows a new head, and you've just made 2 zombies.
But then again, even most zombies, even if destroying the head is not key, the shotgun will do enough massive trauma in such a short span that even if you did not destroy the zombie entirely, it will not be bothering you for any conceivable time, and you will be able to get away.
The other advantage of the shotgun is that it does spread wide enough that if there are multiple zombies coming at you, you can sort of like, in a Jedi will do like a force push against some stormtroopers and they'll kind of fall back a bit. Firing a shotgun in a group of zombies is very similar. That whole group will be set aback, if they get hit with any shot at all.
Now, the key to remember there is you've got to understand how to set the choke on your shotgun, which probably won't be an issue depending on what kind of shotgun you get. You can easily widen the dispersal by just shortening the barrel.
Yep.
Now, a hand cannon is a good backup. If you can get a hold of a shotgun and saw it down, especially a double barrel, boy, just keep that in your belt and use that as the emergency. The zombies have grappled me. This is my last chance to get them off.
Just don't shoot yourself in the genitals.
I think trying to avoid applying a weapon to your genitals will be a theme throughout zombie.
Now, if you can, they do make what are like really awesome shotguns. I mean, the shotgun you're gonna get at Walmart is gonna be pretty crappy relative to what technology we have today. You'll put 2 shells in it. You'll pump it. You'll fire the 2 shells. You'll take the shells out. You put 2 more in.
A lot of them hold more than 2.
Oh, some of them, but you can get shotguns these days. You might have seen them in Counter-Strike, the noob cannon.
The noob cannon.
Those things are real. You can get those if you find a good gun store, where basically you load it up with like 12 or 16 or maybe 10 shells. I don't know how many. And literally it goes like boom, 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 boom. And you just pull the trigger. Maybe you'll have to pump it. Depends on the gun. But you can fire a lot of shells real fast. And then you can load them in by going click, 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 click. And you can get a lot of zombies out with one of those things. You're basically invincible in a zombie attack if you have those, as long as you don't run out of ammo.
Yes, you got to be careful though, because it's very easy to waste multiple shots on one zombie.
It is. You got to conserve the ammo really well, because the one advantage of bullets, which aren't going to really help you that much unless you have a really powerful gun, is that they're small. So you can have a lot of bullets. Shotgun shells are kind of big, so you kind of keep them in boxes. You might if you're in a truck or on a motorcycle, you're better off because you can have more shells on you. Carrying around shotgun shells, maybe you have like a belt and 2 bandoliers with a bunch of shells in them, but they're gonna run out.
Yes, shotgun is definitely a short-term to mid-term weapon. It's not an immediate term, meaning what you would get immediately. Zombies come in.
Unless you have one. If you've got one in your house, good for you.
Yes, but even then, the thing is the shotgun is mostly to be used in order to get past zombies, or to get through zombies, or to get away from zombies.
Yeah, like you're stuck in the mall. So you grab a shotgun, you get out of the mall. You don't need the shotgun anymore. Now you got to use a different weapon.
Yes, now you don't want to use the shotgun to just generally take out zombies, because while you can have a lot of ammo is limited. You see, if you're in your house barricaded, don't just stand there shooting all the zombies that try to get up the stairs. Of course, hopefully you've destroyed your stairs, but that's beside the point. That's for another night. But say you didn't destroy the stairs, and zombies are just shambling up your porch trying to get into your front door and eat your brains. Don't just stand there shooting each one as they come up. There are much better ways to handle the actual fighting of zombies. The shotgun should be saved and used primarily for escape. The shotgun is the last ditch. The shotgun is the universal, will always get you out of the situation weapon.
Well, I think that every weapon in a zombie situation is a situational type of thing. There's no standard weapon that'll do it all, in every possible circumstance or anything like that.
Well, there is a weapon that in most cases, no matter what is going on, will always be useful.
Yes, there are things that'll be useful, but depending on your situation, there's always one tool that does the job. Sort of like, when you're a carpenter, sometimes the hammer is what you need, sometimes the screwdriver. In the zombie apocalypse, this is a call for the fire axe. This is a call for the Mack truck. This is a call for the chainsaw.
So right alongside with the shotgun then, which the shotgun is pretty much your best bet general purpose firearm long-range weapon. You're gonna need a melee weapon to go along with this. Not necessarily because melee weapons are better. Don't believe the video games. Well, it's not in that aspect, but believe the video games in this other aspect, that use the shotgun when you need to, use the Louisville Slugger when you can get away without using the shotgun to save ammo.
Well, get a metal one. First of all, a Louisville Slugger is made of wood.
Wood's not so bad.
Wood's not so bad. The thing is, wood is kind of heavy, and even if you're super strong, you can swing a metal bat a lot faster and a lot harder than you can swing a wooden bat, and it does more damage, especially if you hit in the important bits. So if you can get a metal bat, get one, but a wooden bat will work almost as well.
It basically just comes down to any large, easy-to-wield, blunt instrument.
Yeah, crowbar can work pretty nicely. A nice big hammer, as long as it's not too unwieldy, can work. What else is really good at bludgeoning?
A cricket bat, I guess. Golf clubs, depending on what they're made out of, are okay.
Yeah, gotta watch out for those, flimsy titanium and graphite type things.
Yeah, we learned that from Suicide Kings.
Yeah, you want, an iron, old-school golf club. Probably, a putter is actually really good, especially if it's from, putting green.
Actually,
mini golf.
the problem is I have a really good putter. I've used it for years. I had it for much of my life.
Off.
And it broke kind of on its own one day randomly.
Yeah.
So don't always trust the putter. The putter won't save you in the nick of, yeah. But in general, you'll always have the choice between melee weapon and firearm. And you should always, when you can, revert to the melee weapon simply because it'll save your ammo. Say you're walking outside and you encounter one zombie, especially if they're slow moving or don't infect you with blood sprays kind of zombies. Just beat it over the head until it stops moving and keep going.
Yep.
Don't waste a shotgun shell if it's not coming right for you.
You're pretty much always going to carry a melee weapon no matter what, because you never know when a zombie will just jump out from behind a tree, and it's going to be way too close, and you're not going to have enough time to pull out a gun and maybe load it, maybe cock it, maybe fire it. A bludgeon, you can just go whip, bam, and whack it inside of the head, and that'll give you the second you need to back off and then approach it properly.
Now, before we leave the shotgun, the one thing I really want to tell you is that if you have a shotgun, anything like the ones that break into, I don't want to go in technical gun terms. I don't think many of you know much about them. But you know those shotguns where Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2 reloaded it in that really cool way, where you kind of flip it around?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's called a muzzle loader.
Don't try to reload one of those shotguns the way Arnold Schwarzenegger reloaded that shotgun.
Well,
you're only going to hurt yourself.
Well, unless you happen to be a Terminator.
Even then, you're going to hurt yourself.
No, you're not.
Yes, you are.
If you're a Terminator,
If you're a Terminator, you don't need to worry about zombies. Just stand there. What are they going to do? Bite you?
I think enough zombies. How many zombies do you think it would take to beat the Terminator if the Terminator didn't fight back?
Depends on which Terminator. A T-800, normal zombies, like human zombies, all of them. There is no number of zombies that could destroy a Terminator.
I think there would be so many where the weight of them on top of the Terminator would be so great that it would just be squished and destroyed.
I don't think you could pile that many zombies up on Earth before many of them started floating off into space.
That's fine. The gravity of the zombies themselves will keep the other zombies from flying away.
No, because then they'll pull themselves out into space and form this zombie ball, much like one of the bosses in Castlevania.
You know what? If you put the Terminator at the center of the zombie ball, the Terminator would be no more.
He'd probably be fine.
He wouldn't get out.
Anyway, to talk about a lot of specific case-use weapons, because a lot of people think, oh, I'd use flamethrowers, or I'd use samurai swords, or chainsaw is always a big one.
I'm still laughing at zombie ball.
Don't listen to the movies. Chainsaws are almost always entirely ineffectual, and for anyone who's never actually used a chainsaw, you might wonder why so many people hurt themselves with chainsaws. You might think,
It's real easy to hurt yourself
how
with a
hard is
chainsaw.
it to not touch that bit on the end that's going to cut you?
Considering it's most of the chainsaw is
Well,
the dangerous
The
bit.
deal is, whenever you touch a chainsaw to any object you're going to cut, there's a small chance that it's going to jump away and try to cut your arm off. It happens a lot. The few tiny chainsaws I've tried to use in my life tried to kill me every time.
This is why chainsawing big trees is a sport that you can watch on ESPN2.
It's
from
also
time
a
to time.
fairly high-paying job.
Yep, it's also a dangerous job.
Never, ever, ever use a chainsaw. It's just going to run out of gas. It's ineffective. It's slow. You're going to hurt yourself.
And if it's not going to run out of gas, that means it plugs into the wall. How useful is that? The only real use you have for a chainsaw is you can
Cutting
make
through the bodies of the fallen.
that, and you could also use chainsaws as traps. As long as you don't fall in, as long as you're not so dumb that you fall into your own trap, a chainsaw trap can be quite effective because if you keep fueling that chainsaw, or if it's one that plugs into the wall and there's power from the power plant or a generator somewhere, you can have a chainsaw running and trick a lot of zombies into just falling into it, and you just basically make a zombie grinder that works really well. But you don't want to carry a chainsaw around with you. You don't want to make a chainsaw type on a stick or anything like that, because
Anyone who saw the remake of Dawn of the Dead knows why you don't want to mount chainsaws to vehicles.
yeah, you're only gonna hurt yourself as much as you hurt the zombies. Remember, it doesn't matter how many zombies you hurt. You hurt yourself once, and it's game over. You gotta hurt yourself 0 times.
Now, if they're the kind of zombies where any significant trauma to the brain will take them out, while shotguns are nice handguns, assault rifles, anything like that, solid gold. If one blow to the head will take the zombie out, get as many small arms as you can and use them to great effect.
Yes, assuming zombies are undead flesh, as I already said, bullets don't really help because they go in one side, not the other, and the zombie doesn't know any different. But if you can somehow kill the zombie by getting it in the head, then a nice, well-calibrated rifle of some sort is very useful because if a zombie's far away or maybe a little bit longer range, you can shoot a bullet through its head before it gets anywhere near close enough to do any damage at all, and it'll fall over and never bother you again.
Like, say, you're in a building, and you've got to break through and escape from the building, and there's a ring of zombies around it. Ahead, before you break out, have people with rifles stand there and pick off a bunch of zombies in one area, and then attack that area right away.
Yep. Now, if they're kind of zombies that you might need to bash their whole head apart, a normal rifle is not going to do the trick. You need something more powerful. But there do exist many more powerful rifles. And, you don't necessarily have to get the AWP. You can get a lot of other things that are almost as good or good enough where they shoot a bullet, but they shoot the bullet so fast and so hard, and the bullet is such a high caliber that if you hit the zombie in the head or even in the arm, that entire, limb will explode. There are bullets that you could shoot out of guns and hit people in the head, and their head will just explode.
Granted, there's a big problem with handguns in general, in that the vast majority of human beings do not have the ability to fire them accurately.
Yes, this is why I've been talking about rifles and not handguns.
Well, I was thinking you're talking about that kind of weapon. The Desert Eagle 5.0 would almost definitely take out a zombie head.
Oh, almost certainly. But
However,
don't try to wield it if you're not. It's sort of like a weapon in D&D. You need to be level 5 to use this.
So what do you need to be a level 5 Bullet Tooth Tony?
I guess if you're good enough to have a Desert Eagle and you can aim it and get a zombie in the head, and then good for you. You have the ability to do a lot better than most people in a zombie situation. But if you are not capable of handling a weapon such as the Desert Eagle, don't try it, because again, you'll just hurt yourself, probably break your wrist.
Now, another weapon a lot of people really like is the flamethrower. And the flamethrower is not a general purpose weapon. Soldiers in World War I learned that, one, if you use a flamethrower, most likely it's going to set you on fire before it sets anyone else on fire.
Yeah, if I've learned anything from playing that Return to Castle Wolfenstein game, is that the flamethrower is the coolest weapon to kill yourself with.
I remember when I made a flamethrower in Doom 2, and I learned that all it did was spawn more flame and then immediately kill me.
Yeah.
But yes, flamethrowers are useful really only if you're on the offensive as opposed to the defensive. You're
Sometimes they're useful for clearing out different situations. Like if there is a wooden structure full of zombies,
That is being on the offensive.
I guess. Or perhaps if there are a bunch of dead zombies in the way, you can set the pile of corpses on fire.
And thus making it harder to crawl over the pile.
Well, no, like maybe behind you, and you're going the other way, or to clear it out eventually. Like there's no zombies right now.
But you can do that with non-flamethrowers, and having the flamethrower slows you down so much.
I think the biggest problem of the flamethrower, assuming you're not stupid enough to set yourself on fire with it, assuming you know how to use it properly, is that you're carrying around this tank of highly flammable gas or liquid. And that provides a very, very weak spot for you. You know, in any video game you ever play, anyone who's carrying around a flamethrower, you know that you just shoot them anywhere near that tank and it explodes and they die. If a zombie grabs that tank, or maybe one of your friends shoots a spark near it by accident, you're going to explode. And that is not good. That tank is much more useful as a zombie-killing bomb than as a weak spot on your back.
Also, because it's heavy, you're not going to move very fast. So once again, I stand by it is primarily an offensive weapon.
Yes.
The situations where you'll use a flamethrower, assuming that somehow you get a hold of a flamethrower, little homemade ones are pretty much dick.
Yeah. Useful if there's aliens instead of zombies.
Depending on the alien. What if the aliens are actually fire elementals?
Talking about Sahorny Wiener aliens.
Sahorny Weaver.
It's a Sahorny Wiener. It's an old joke.
You mean Sigourney Weaver?
Yes.
Not Sahorny Wiener?
It's a middle school joke. Leave me alone.
Outstanding.
Maybe it's time to dump that joke. It's such an old ingrained joke that I didn't even think when I said it.
Yes.
It's just the natural saying.
Anyway, just remember, flamethrowers are not really useful to defend yourself. They're useful for cleanup, for the extermination of the remaining zombies, for the cleaning out of buildings, for the storming of areas, that sort of thing.
All right, now, there is one weapon that most people don't think of that I think is perhaps the number one weapon in any modern Western civilized zombie situation, and that weapon is any motor vehicle.
Yes, preferably some sort of Jeep, if possible.
Something with some horsepower, but mostly you want is torque. You want it to be high off the ground. You want good wheels that can drive off-road. And you want something that can take a lot of damage to the front and hopefully also the rear.
Yeah, so very specifically, don't go grabbing Lamborghinis and Porsches. Those are pretty much going to get gummed up on the first zombie you have to run over.
Well, the Lamborghini and the Porsche might be useful in a very specific situation of empty highway, you got to get the hell out of this town, something like that. But other than that, that's just going to get you killed. You're looking for, Ford F-350s. You're looking for Dodge Rams. You're looking for Jeeps. You're looking for Land Rovers. You're looking for SUVs that are actually trucks and not cars.
If you need to get through a bunch of zombies, you could sit there and go bit by bit with the flamethrower, or you could fight your way out with baseball bats and shotguns. But if you've got a good truck, just get in it. Maybe put some sort of thing on front of it. If you can get a plow or a bulldozer thing to put on the front, that's even better. Some sort of cow catcher kind of thing.
Yeah, one of those is
and
pretty
just
good.
charge through the zombies and get away.
Remember, motor vehicles aren't just cars either. A train is awesome, even though it only goes one way.
Trains, I would submit, are not that awesome.
As long as
depending
there's no
on the
zombies
situation.
on the train.
If you don't know the situation along the train route, do not get on a train, because you might just take yourself into a tunnel and die, or take yourself into zombie territory with no way back out. If there's anything blocking the train, now you're fucked.
Well, the thing is, if you're on a train, you can detach all the cars except the engine. So you're in the engine, you can go really fast. No zombies. If there's no zombie in the engine with you, you're okay. And you can go and go and go and go, and no zombie's going to get you unless you stop and open the door or anything like that. And if you end up in a bad place, you can see it way ahead of you, and if it doesn't look like, if the track is out or something like that, just turn the train around and go back. But a train just might be the thing to get you out of there without getting killed. So,
but remember, it's hard to drive a train. You might think it's easy, but the first corner, if you don't know how fast it can go around the corner, you're just going to derail and die.
Yes, that's why you should make sure to get the engineer and hope he didn't turn into a zombie. Or learn how to use a train, which maybe I should learn how to use a train. I've always wanted to know.
Now, when you're using weapons against zombies, remember that zombie intelligence? This is key again. You've got to be careful of infection, depending on what kind of zombies they are. If they're normal zombies that just kill you, and maybe dead bodies come back to life, and they can bite you and do whatever and you won't turn into one, then don't worry about it. But if they're 28 days later zombies where a speck of blood in your eye and suddenly you go crazy, you best be wearing some armor when you're fighting, and you best be using blunt trauma weapons as opposed to piercing stabbing weapons.
Yes, also, if you can find a hospital, maybe you can get like one of those biohazard hazmat type suits. That way, even if blood splatters, you're okay.
However, in a pinch...
duct tape is also good. Duct tape and clothing.
Leather is key. Wear as much leather as you can, duct tape the things together so there's no way
Gloves, a mask of some sort, maybe a paintball mask could be good.
Yeah, if anything, you want to protect your eyes. You don't want zombie blood in your eyes, especially if you haven't figured out how contagious the zombie whatever is.
Yeah. As much protection and armor as you can, but armor is not weapons, which is what we're talking about here.
So how do you fight a zombie in one-on-one combat? Very simply, again, let's say you don't know anything about him. You're fighting the zombie. You're standing here in our room right now, doing the show, the Geeknights studio, and a zombie busts in the door and goes, I'm a zombie, I'm a zombie.
Well, how fast is he going? Is he a slow zombie or a fast zombie? If he's a fast zombie, we're fucked because we don't have weapons right now.
I might be able to push this keyboard into him while he's going after you enough to keep him away from me long enough to grab something heavy and hit him like this mug.
I could maybe use this microphone stand as sort of a swinging bludgeon and then escape out the door.
I don't know if he was a 28 days later zombie. Let's see. He appears. He's already eating your face. I'm fucked. I'm trying to jump out the window.
Yeah, it's game over. But if he's a slow zombie, right? I can back up. I can get a second to grab something. Let's see. What could I grab here?
I'd pretty much have to grab my dragon mug or maybe the Geeknights compressor.
There's a tennis racket there that could be useful.
Oh, I got a pair of scissors here.
I might just use this microphone stand. Or actually, the microphone itself is really heavy and it's on this cable. I could swing it around pretty good. That might do it.
We'd pretty much have to throw debris at the zombie in order to get him contained. Now, this is key. This is the first zombie. We don't have any intelligence. We don't know what's going on. Other than that, there is a zombie. If we are able to subdue the zombie or in any way prevent it from leaving and also at the same time preventing it from getting to us, then it's a good time to perform an experiment. Try stabbing it through the eye and see if that kills it. Then destroy the head and see if that kills it. Destroy the heart, see if that kills it. Figure out what it takes to destroy the zombie and then act accordingly.
Make sure Rim does all these experiments and figure out how Rim gets infected by the zombie, then kill Rim in the same way he killed the first zombie, and then escape.
Of course, your first priority is to make sure the zombie doesn't get you. And your second priority
is to make sure that Rim is the guinea pig and not Scott.
Before you do any experimentation, if zombie comes into the studio and we take it out, before we do anything, one, listen and see if there's any other noise in the house. Because how the fuck did a zombie get in? The doors are locked. Two, look out the window and see if there are zombies outside.
3, look on the internet and see if someone else already figured it out.
God, I can just see Farky be like, zombies invade, something about Drew and beer and boobies.
There is the chance that was the only zombie ever, and now we're going to be instant billionaires because we have the world's only zombie.
Yeah, except, all right, so we kill the zombie. Again, now it's dead. Then we call the police come and look at it. So, this hobo broke into your house and he killed him. No, it was a zombie. It looks like you just stabbed this guy in the face like 10 times, then took his heart out and crushed it. We swear he was a zombie. We stabbed him in the neck and he didn't die. Yeah, sure, boys.
Police are all zombies. Anyway, back to the weapons that we were talking about.
Send more paramedics.
I guess the best weapons would always be military weapons, but you're really not going to get those.
Well, it depends. I mean, maybe you live near a military base, and you get onto the military base by proving you're not a zombie. The military base, if the zombie apocalypse is great enough, is probably going to arm any human who is in there.
Maybe. Or knowing our military, they just keep you in some sort of shitty-ass shelter while they fuck up.
Things not to use as weapons is very key. Do not attempt to stab the zombie with a pocket knife.
No, pretty much, if you're going to use a knife, you're going to want machete or better.
Yeah, if you're using a pair of scissors or some little knife, that's pretty much the last resort because the zombie's already biting your neck and you're trying to stab it in the eye.
Yeah, I mean, machete is actually a really good general purpose weapon because it cuts a lot of other things that might get in your way, like, fallen wires that aren't electrified.
If you
jungle.
If you like D&D stuff or SCA stuff and you've got a bunch of pseudo-medieval weapons laying around, unless you got them from a reputable sword dealer, like Museum Replicas, and you know that they're full tang and good, and actually designed for at least some form of combat or stage combat, don't use them. That sword from the Lord of the Rings might look really cool, but it's either gonna break, bend, or somehow hurt you the moment you try to actually use it.
Yeah, your replica of the Master Sword is not a weapon. You might as well use a stick. I mean, it's not. You're better off using the kitchen knife actually than that thing.
BB guns, anything like that, don't worry about it. They're not going to help.
Completely useless, except maybe as a bludgeon if they're nice and heavy and made of metal. Which
Obviously,
most of them aren't.
pepper spray and the like, in 99% of zombie cases, are not going to do anything.
Nope. Maybe if you had a super soaker, maybe you could get some sort of acid or something in there.
Maybe holy water. Maybe these are mystical zombies.
It could be. It could be that a super soaker of holy water is the best option in some other universe besides this one.
Yes. However, if zombies come and they're not scientific zombies, or there's something we can't explain right away, there's the tiny chance that there's other things. So if you have the opportunity, throw a bunch of holy symbols at them and see if anything happens.
Yeah, keep like a crescent moon, a Jew star, and a cross around just in case.
The yellow sign, just...
Well, the elder sign also. You never know. Just keep a little... We should sell that, like a bag of holy symbols just in case. There's every holy symbol from like every religion. And if a zombie ever happens, you just throw this bag at it and then see which one.
And of course, if zombies come, real quick, if you ever had a memory from your childhood where you thought you could cast a spell, or a dream where someone said weird words to you, try saying all those words just in case.
Yeah.
It can't hurt.
No, you say those words while you're using your shotgun.
Yeah. Don't say, oh, Christ will save me from the zombie, because he's probably not gonna. Unless he's standing there next to you with a shotgun.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Been laying down them blue sparks. All right, I think we're done. There wasn't so much detail to talk about since we avoided all the artillery or bombs or traps or any of that. And the things you use to fight zombies are actually relatively simple.
I think that's because zombies are relatively simple enemies. They're not complex enemies such as vampires where your weapons are like stakes and things, or skeletons where only bludgeons will work, or, some sort of golems where you need all sorts of weird weapons to beat a golem because they're immune to just about everything. A zombie, it's a walking bag of flesh, and you just need to beat the shit out of it.
Yep, you pretty much, in all zombie situations, want some form of melee weapon, preferably a bludgeoning one as opposed to a piercing or stabbing or slashing one.
Of course, the one that cuts really well, like something really sharp, like maybe a good scimitar.
A real katana.
You could cut the leg. Yeah, you get the legs off a zombie, and then what's it gonna do?
Well,
Sit there.
theoretically,
bleed?
with a real katana or a real two-handed, crazy, awesome greatsword kind of deal, you could probably behead some zombies.
Yeah, if you're outside, you can actually get room. You can swing a claymore around. That'll do the trick.
Or a maul. I like mauls.
Yeah. The thing is, you want to avoid things like flails unless you have specific trained skills, because you're only going to hurt yourself with that.
Yeah, unless you know how to use nunchucks. And when I say know how to use nunchucks, I mean someone cooler than you taught you how to use nunchucks, and he himself has used them before. Don't ever try to use a nunchuck. I have owned nunchucks at several junctures in my young life.
You just hit yourself in the nuts with them, didn't you?
Without fail, I proceeded to hit myself in the nuts until I threw them away.
Yeah, and we're not talking about your Wiimote nunchuck either. Yeah, most ninja weapons kind of suck when it comes to zombies.
Ninja stars, those aren't going to save you.
Ninja stars aren't going to do it. Little daggers aren't going to do it. Those rings that are blades aren't going to do it unless you can, a hat with a knife in it.
Poison's not going to do it.
No, shoes with knives in them, not going to work.
In general, you want your melee weapon and your shotgun. You want to have some shells and some slugs, if you can get a hold of them. Get as much ammo as you can.
And a vehicle.
And beyond that, depending on the kinds of zombies, assault rifles and that sort of thing might be very, very useful. But again, it depends on what kind of zombies they are.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an AK-47, there's a bunch of people coming at you, and you just let loose, odds are, if it's a mob of people, you're going to kill quite a few people. If it's a mob of zombies, depending on the zombie, it might not do anything.
Yes, and of course, be smart. Don't kill zombies unless, one, it's safe to do so and you won't expend undue resources doing it, or two, you have to either get where you're going or get away from where you are.
Yes.
Or to save another living human being.
Yes, your goal is always to get away, to get somewhere, to escape somehow. This isn't a game of kill the most zombies and win. It's a game of get to the chopper.
Yeah.
So don't kill more zombies than you have to. If you can get to the chopper without wasting time or ammo killing any, then do that. Sort of like in Doom. If you can get to the door at the end of the level in Doom, grab the keys, open all the right doors, push the red button, and then the level's over without having to kill any imps, do that, because then you just saved yourself 10 rockets.
However, if you're in, say, a hospital and it's reasonably secured and you know there are other people in the hospital and you see a zombie, you should probably go out of your way to kill it or at least alert everyone to its presence for the safety of all. Because you don't know what kind of apocalypse this might be. It might be limited number of zombies, don't worry about it. But it might be every single living human counts and is required. I mean, if there's a limited number of humans left, you don't want to let anyone die. If you see people under attack, you might be worth it to go out of your way and save them, unless you know you can't.
Yeah, it mostly depends on the people. I mean, if you see, old people, it's sad, but you really probably don't need to save the old people.
Unless they're old people with mad skills, or maybe they remember things. Maybe it's a World War II veteran who can teach you all about tactics.
Oh, that is true. There are uses, but
don't just discount an old person out of hand, but if you're running away with your small army of men and there's a horde of zombies closing in on the one old lady who can't keep up, I hate to say it, but you're going to have to perform some sort of moral triage and let her go.
Yeah. I mean, plus if you got kids coming around, kids are tough because, while old people in the end are just gonna...
But all anime tells you kids are the future.
They are. The kids are the future. The problem is the kids are also baggage. They make you, they slow you down. They don't help you out at all in the short term. And it just picking up one kid might get you all killed. So,
but at the same time, if the number of humans is limited, picking up one kid might be the most important thing you've ever done.
It might be. So you got to think fast.
We can't get into that. That's a whole separate zombie episode.
The moral triage.
Moral
of choosing
triage.
Who to save.
And also medical triage and all that sort of thing. But one last thing I want to bring up with these weapons, especially if they're zombies that can be taken out from a distance with headshots, and two, if they're the kind of zombies where if you are killed by a zombie, you become a zombie. In that case, if you let the old lady go, you're pretty much, unless you have no way to, an asshole if you don't at least turn around and give her the mercy kill.
Yeah, you're pretty much saying, we're just going to let you become a zombie. Plus, it's better, it's easy to kill an old lady. A lot easier than it is to kill a zombie, I assume. So, if you're going to leave the old lady behind, it's good to mercy kill the old lady because not only is it better for her not having to become a horrible zombie, it's better for you, one less zombie to deal with. All right, so you freaking fanboys, we
did it.
We did it.
You ask for it constantly. I get emails on a regular basis. It's over. We did it. We did one. You're going to have to hold off a little bit before we do this again.
Quite a bit. Also, send us Thursday show ideas that don't involve zombies.
However, they might have figured out by you saying that the reason we did a zombie episode was because we didn't have a better Thursday. In which case, they'll avoid sending us Thursday ideas.
What about our Thursday contest?
The Bad Podcast Contest.
Yes.
We're still working on that. We've got a lot of entries for it, so it's over. No more entries. We're done. I'm going through them now. I'm listening to several episodes from every single entry you sent us. I also am going to apologize right now to podcasts that may or may not have been done by people I know that were submitted to us.
Yeah, we did not do any of these submissions or suggestions, and it was completely up to people who listened to our show which podcast they thought were the worst ever.
Granted, I'm probably going to have my own submission, even though I will not put it forth for prize eligibility, obviously.
I'll have to find a podcast to submit. I don't know. I didn't really think about it. Maybe we'll do just next week's show as like the results of the contest. We'll review all these podcasts and...
Yeah, I'm not going to promise, though, because it might be 2 weeks from now, depending on how much time I put into deciding in the next week.
Yeah, I got to listen to some of these, too. I don't want to let Rim make the decision on his own.
I don't want to have to make the decision on my own. I mean,
I can't let you carry the burden of listening to all these bad podcasts and I don't listen to any of them.
I was about to say something, and I'm not gonna.
All right.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.